Listen, we all love ice cream, but there's ice cream and then there's Jenny's ice cream. Jenny's has unique flavors like brown butter almond brittle, a buttercream ice cream with golden pockets of caramel and crunch, and brambleberry crisp ice cream that tastes just like a fresh berry cobbler topped with vanilla ice cream. All made from scratch, no synthetic flavorings or dyes. Ice cream is great and Jenny's makes it better. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams including gluten-free and dairy-free flavors at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com.
At Metro by T-Mobile, we don't think you should pay extra for high-speed 5G data. Introducing the big 5G upgrade. Ditch your overpriced connection with Boost and Cricket and save half when you switch to Metro. Get one line of high-speed smartphone data, just $25 with 5G access included. Plus, get a free Samsung Galaxy 5G with trade-in. Rule your day with the big 5G upgrade. Only at Metro. Limited time in-store only. Save half based on one line Boost and Cricket Unlimited plan. See store for details.
For decades, this area has been a hotbed for paranormal sightings.
Jeremy! This is a strange place, this part of the country.
Ed, where are you?
Something about it just doesn't feel right.
iHeartRadio and Grim & Mild presents Bridgewater, starring Misha Collins, Melissa Ponzio, and Nathan Fillion. Created by Aaron Mahnke and written by Lauren Shippen. Listen to Bridgewater now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and learn more at grimandmild.com/Bridgewater.
All right, guys, welcome to Always Hungry from iHeartRadio. My name is Bobby Flay, and I'm here with my daughter and co-host.
I'm Sophie Flay.
And on Always Hungry, Sophie and I gather around my stove to cook together.
Well, you cook, I ask the questions and eat the food.
If there's any food left, we come to the table together to share a meal, connect as a family, and tell the stories that matter to us. All right, Sophie, today we're talking about one of my most anxious subjects.
Restaurant reviews. Oof.
Yeah, exactly. Restaurant reviews. In the newspapers, online, in people's heads, face-to-face, word of mouth, you name it. As a career restaurateur, it's the thing I dream about most.
Everyone's a critic. Let's get into it.
So today, we're going to make...
some halibut?
We're talking about restaurant reviews. So I'm going to talk about a dish that at Gatto constantly got well reviewed. Basically across the board. And it's an interesting dish because it's a steamed halibut dish. And steaming things or steaming fish doesn't necessarily always evoke like lots of deliciousness because it's steamed as opposed to sauteed or roasted or, But I think what it did was this halibut is so silky that by steaming the fish, it just kept that integrity of the texture. And then what I did was I paired it with a sauce, a broth really, that had tomatoes and fennel, onions, some saffron, some garlic, and then we let the fish sit in the broth, and then on top of it was a green olive relish that had fresh mint in it.
Yum.
Yeah, really nice.
I love adding fennel to fish.
You do?
Yeah.
Not everybody loves fennel.
I love fennel.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
So I have some aromatics in this steaming broth. We have some onions and garlic. We have some lime. We have some bay leaf. You don't want to overpower it. You just want to steam the fish, and then you want to cover it so that it steams. All right. So today we're talking about restaurant reviews.
This is a really fun idea to me because we haven't really talked about this much.
In terms of what?
I've never really talked to you about your reviews. I've watched you in, when you first open a restaurant and you literally don't leave the restaurant for, 2-3 months. You live there.
I mean...
But before it gets reviewed, it usually gets reviewed within the first 2 to 3 months, no?
It took Gatto months and months.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize that then. Maybe I got the timeline
I think
wrong.
Pete Wells was trying to figure out if I was going to, just abandon the restaurant or something. Which is sort of a common, I get that all the time because I'm on television a lot, that I'm not in my restaurants. The bottom line is I'm in my restaurants all the time.
Oh, constantly.
An insane amount of time.
Yeah.
Maybe more than some other chefs who are not on television.
No, you were literally always in your restaurants. Yeah. Always.
And it's because I love being in them. It's not because I feel like I have to be there, which I do have to be there. But I also like being there.
Right.
It's to me, it's the most joyous place for me.
But it is crazy, though. I mean, I always, say I have no idea where you get all this energy from because I'll watch you shoot, 3 episodes of Beat and then go straight to the restaurant at like 4 p.m. and you're working all night, and that's a whole other grind in itself. It's crazy. You're always in your restaurants.
Yeah.
Always have been.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why they have longevity. I mean, I'll just take you through the longevity of my restaurant history.
Yeah.
So Mesa Grill in New York City, the original Mesa Grill, opened in 1991. We were open for 26 years. 26 years, Sophie.
Older than me.
No, I know. It's crazy. 26 years. Bolo, 15 years. Again, went the full...
It's a long time.
Full boat of its lease.
Yep.
Then they knocked the building down. I had a restaurant called Mesa City for a very short period of time. It was about 2 years. Didn't quite work the way I wanted it to work. It was sort of a casual version of Mesa Grill.
Was that pre-Mesa Grill?
No, it was after Mesa Grill.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was on the Upper East Side.
Was I alive?
Yes. I remember taking you there. I'm not joking. I remember taking you there. You were in a Halloween green pea outfit. You know, like a pea pod?
Peas in a pod.
Yeah. I took you there in a pea pod outfit.
Was it actually Halloween?
It was the Halloween season.
Oh my God.
So yes, you were alive.
You had no idea what to dress me in.
You were alive barely. Oh. That restaurant, and actually that restaurant got 2 stars from Ruth Reichel, which frankly I was surprised by. She liked it for what it was. And, you know, a friend of mine bought it for me on the street corner one night. He's like, I really want a restaurant for the Upper East Side. He had this Southeast Asian restaurant called Rain, and he wanted to open one on the Upper East Side, and I sold it to him on the street corner one night. It was not. It was the Mesa City was not satisfying my.
I sold it on the street corner one night.
It almost had nothing to do with money. We were busy enough, but it just didn't. It wasn't satisfying me from a culinary standpoint, so I gave it up. Then Bar Americain, 15 years, full boat of the lease.
Such a great restaurant.
Bar Americain, Connecticut, 10 years. Bobby Flay Steak, 15 years. Mesa Grill in the Bahamas, 11 years. Mesa Grill Las Vegas, 16 years.
Jesus Christ.
This is a lot of years.
Yeah, it is.
And then Gato, 7 years. It was cut short because of the pandemic, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Got 7 great years out of it.
Totally.
One of my favorite restaurant eras ever.
So good.
It was the first restaurant I had to open in New York City in 10 years. And people were like, oh, he's making a comeback. I didn't go anywhere. Like, yeah. I'm in my restaurants all over the place. It was just like, I just hadn't opened one in New York City in that amount of time. And then, now we have Amalfi in Vegas, which I love. And then of course, there's all the Bobby's Burgers, et cetera. But restaurant reviews are an incredibly important part of a restaurant success.
When's the last time you ate something that truly stopped you in your tracks? If it's been too long since food has blown you away, it's time to try Jenny's ice cream. Every pint of Jenny's is an unforgettable, crave-worthy flavor that makes you feel good. Try brown butter almond brittle with a buttercream base and golden pockets of caramel and crunch. Maybe you'd like brambleberry crisp, which tastes like a fresh berry cobbler. Or if you love cake, try gooey butter cake, which is oozing with rich butterscotch sauce. From the chocolatey to the fruity and more, each flavor is made from scratch using a recipe from founder Jenny, a James Beard award-winning ice cream maker. And she doesn't cut corners when it comes to ingredients. In fact, you won't find any chemical dyes, flavorings, or off-the-shelf ice cream mixes in these pints. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams, including more than a dozen gluten-free and dairy-free flavors, at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide, and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com. Jenny's makes it better. When's the last time you ate something that truly stopped you in your tracks? If it's been too long since food has blown you away, it's time to try Jenny's ice cream. Every pint of Jenny's is an unforgettable, crave-worthy flavor that makes you feel good. Try brown butter almond brittle with a buttercream base and golden pockets of caramel and crunch. Maybe you'd like brambleberry crisp, which tastes like a fresh berry cobbler. Or if you love cake, try gooey butter cake, which is oozing with rich butterscotch sauce. From the chocolatey to the fruity and more, each flavor is made from scratch using a recipe from founder Jenny, a James Beard award-winning ice cream maker. And she doesn't cut corners when it comes to ingredients. In fact, you won't find any chemical dyes, flavorings, or off-the-shelf ice cream mixes in these pints. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams, including more than a dozen gluten-free and dairy-free flavors, at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide, and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com. Jenny's makes it better. When's the last time you ate something that truly stopped you in your tracks? If it's been too long since food has blown you away, it's time to try Jenny's ice cream. Every pint of Jenny's is an unforgettable, crave-worthy flavor that makes you feel good. Try brown butter almond brittle with a buttercream base and golden pockets of caramel and crunch. Maybe you'd like brambleberry crisp, which tastes like a fresh berry cobbler. Or if you love cake, try gooey butter cake, which is oozing with rich butterscotch sauce. From the chocolatey to the fruity and more, each flavor is made from scratch using a recipe from founder Jenny, a James Beard award-winning ice cream maker. And she doesn't cut corners when it comes to ingredients. In fact, you won't find any chemical dyes, flavorings, or off-the-shelf ice cream mixes in these pints. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams, including more than a dozen gluten-free and dairy-free flavors, at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide, and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com. Jenny's makes it better.
So we'll let the fish steam, and then while that's happening, we can make our broth.
Okay. What's in the broth?
The broth, I started with some onions and some garlic, some fennel, some tomato, some white wine, some fish stock, and then let it cook for a while, and it has saffron in it as well.
Yeah.
You smell the
It's
saffron.
a little orange, yellow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very bright.
But I'm going to puree that.
Okay, in the food processor?
I'm going to puree it. Yeah, exactly.
Whoa. It's going everywhere.
You can smell it. You can smell the saffron.
Wow, you really can. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So then let's give this a taste.
How is it?
It's okay. It needs a little salt and pepper, and I'm going to put some Calabrian chili in there as well. Okay. Well, I'm going to add one more ingredient to that.
Okay.
Our fish.
Oh, the fish is almost done.
Yeah, it's steaming away.
So quick.
So I have this anchovy butter, which always makes everything fish taste better. And then we're going to take the anchovy butter and just finish it.
Oh, that tastes good, Dad.
Does it?
Yeah.
Very light and healthy.
But just like so much of your flavors. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of love the idea that, I don't know if you still do this, but I feel like I remember you telling me that in your restaurants, you know, you have like faces and names of critics.
Absolutely.
Like in the kitchen.
Well, look, this is a really interesting topic because you and I come from two different generations. Mm-hmm. And things have changed a lot in the media over the last, couple of decades, of course. When I first started in the restaurant business, I was in my 20s. There were two things that mattered. The New York Times, the New York Magazine, in New York City.
Yep.
And the New York Times was 10 times more important than the New York Magazine. Mm-hmm. It just, that was the vehicle. And everything else only mattered a little bit. Like if you added up everything else, it wouldn't equal either one of those two things.
Yep.
So Gail Green was the restaurant critic for New York Magazine at the time. And when I opened Mesa Grill, she named Mesa Grill the best new restaurant of the year in New York City. That's a big accomplishment. And she sort of set me off onto this path. The New York Times came in and gave us a glowing review, a glowing 2-star review. And, Mesa Grill was off to the races. Mm-hmm. It lasted for 26 years. I will tell you that I got reviewed 2 more times at Mesa Grill over the lifetime of the restaurant. Mm-hmm. We got a great 2-star review from Bill Grimes. And then I got a 1-star review from Frank Bruni, which was literally one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah.
Because it was the only time I ever got taken down a star. The bottom line is, he said I took my eye off the restaurant, and maybe he was right. It was definitely not our heyday moment of the restaurant. But when you have a restaurant for 26 years, there are, the salad days, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then there are days where the restaurant is not at its best. It's a living, breathing thing. And basically, he caught me in a moment where it could have been better. And I called him up, and I thanked him for coming into the restaurant and reviewing us. And he, to this day, will mention that I did that. Like, because people that get, unfavorable reviews don't usually call the critic and thank them.
Right.
But the bottom line is, I'm in the business of putting myself on the line in terms of, critics, customers, reviews, etc. And it is what it is. I've been really lucky.
I think it's important for you to explain what the stars mean.
Well, in the New York Times, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. Then there's also satisfactory and poor. You don't want poor or satisfactory.
Right.
A 1 star, and frankly, like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 stars, they all have different meanings based on the level of the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So if you're a neighborhood restaurant in New York City, and you don't, it's not formal. Mm-hmm. It's a very casual restaurant, not that expensive. It's very sort of value oriented. Mm-hmm. It's a mom and pop organization, and you get a good 1 star review. That's a good review.
Yeah.
Right? If you are trying to be a 4 star restaurant, you're Jean-Georges Vongerichten, you're Danielle, you're high end, okay? If you get 2 stars, those guys want to kill themselves because they're trying to achieve a level that starts at 3 stars.
Right.
Okay? My restaurants, for the most part, I would say are in the 2 star range, could get 3.
Okay.
Could, but might be a tiny bit too raucous.
Okay.
I don't mean that like they're out of control.
No.
But just like there's a certain energy that might give the critic some trepidation of giving a 3rd star, even if they really like it. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy with very, very, very good, solid 2 star reviews. Okay. That's basically how I've made my career.
Got it.
Like you asking me about like, do we have pictures of the critics?
Yeah.
Like, Pete Wells knows that like, the New York Times critic knows that like it's part of our job to know their aliases, their phone numbers, their friends' phone numbers, where they live, when they're what their
social security number,
what their disguises are, what are the things they like to drink.
Disguises. Do they come in disguises?
Ruth used to come in disguises all the time, like real disguises, wigs and the whole 9.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think she really loved it.
That's really fun, actually.
Yeah, Ruth Reich was a cool person.
But so when you notice that a critic's in your restaurant, are you sending out extra food?
Not to them. Oh no, that's the other thing. It's this sort of dance where like we make believe that we don't know that they're there, and they know that we know that they're there, but like nobody
it's unspoken.
Acknowledges it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't. It's not cool to send the critic food.
Okay.
Because that's
too much.
Nosing.
Yeah.
You just have to send them, and also here's the thing that I started doing, which was years ago when the critic came in, it was like high alert. I would send the kitchen into a fucking hurricane, right? Because this is it, the New York Times critic is here, like, oh my God. And they come like somewhere between 3 and 5 times.
Right.
And then, you know what I started doing? Like at Gatto, I told no one. I would tell the manager, if Pete comes in, I want you to walk into the kitchen, pull me aside, and tell me in my ear. Because my staff was cooking really great food. Mm-hmm. To add the pressure to it, they're going to make mistakes.
Yep.
I don't want them overthinking it. I just want, and also what happens is you stop the entire restaurant. No one gets fed but the critic. Right. And that's not good either because frankly,
because they're watching.
They know exactly what's going on around them.
Yeah.
They can tell if their presence has like sent the place into disaster. Mm-hmm. And that's not good and they're supposed to be speaking not only for them, they're speaking for everybody.
For the yeah.
So if they get treated differently, that's something else that can be really not good. There's been some high-end restaurants that got bad reviews based on the fact that they were treating the customer differently than the critic. Mm-hmm. And so that's, of course, you're going to make sure that the critic's food looks right. But I didn't tell anybody. I just let everybody cook.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Probably better that way now.
Totally better. Mm-hmm. Totally better.
Do you tell them afterwards?
Yes.
Do they freak out?
Yes. But like not right afterwards, like maybe an hour and a half later, I'll be like, by the way, we fed the Times today. And
right.
Like, what?
Oh my God.
Wait, what was the dishes? I'm like, doesn't matter.
Okay, audience, do you love trivia? Do you love the hit podcast, Stuff You Should Know? Then you'll love the new Trivial Pursuit game, Stuff You Should Know Edition. With 600 questions from the hugely popular Stuff You Should Know podcast, this game is packed with weird and unbelievable trivia inspired by topics on the show. You'll be challenged by brain-busting questions in 6 fascinating categories, including myths, legends, and conspiracies. And SYSK selects a mix of topics handpicked by podcast hosts Josh and Chuck. It's perfect for 3 to 6 players and adults from ages 16 to 116. If you love the Stuff You Should Know podcast, or you're just curious about the world, grab your copy of the Trivial Pursuit game Stuff You Should Know edition today, wherever you get your favorite board games.
Bienvenidos, mi gente. Gloria Estefan here. We are bringing Red Table Talk the Estefans to podcast. Just like our Red Table Talk sisters, we have brought 3 generations together to talk family, relationships, and social issues from the perspective of 3 fabulosas Latinas. Join me with my niece Lily, a beloved Latina TV star and devoted mother of 2. She is Estefan.
You can break my heart, but you cannot take my soul.
And my daughter Emily. She's a talented musician, she's outspoken, and a powerful voice of her generation. She's Esta Fresh.
People need people, but you have to make the first step to say that.
And I'm Esta Fierce. I'm Gloria Estefan. I'm a performer. I've been married for 42 years, have 2 children, 1 grandson, and 5 dogs. Listen to Red Table Talk the Estefans as part of the My Cultura podcast network, available on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I want to get back to being in my community group.
I want to continue having a soccer season.
So I can throw parties again.
So I can go to her parties.
It'd really be nice to dine in instead of getting delivery for a change.
So I can feel safe and protected for myself and my students.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Come on.
Chopping up some parsley.
Yeah, I mean, I usually put some chives in there. So basically, I'm gonna pour the broth over the fish. Really beautiful. And this is really light.
It's gorgeous.
You know, it's very light and flavorful. Usually I would make some, like an olive and mint relish to put on top, but this one
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty. This is how a dish gets good reviews.
How?
Well, because it's beautiful to look at. It has a lot of flavor in the broth.
Yeah, the fish is kind of like bathing
The fish
a bit in the
exactly.
bowl.
Then you have a contrast of texture from the olives and the mint relish, and then of course the fish has to be cooked right.
Right.
It's satisfying.
Oh, it's so good.
Overall, if you're doing a good job, you're going to have a successful restaurant, because ultimately, especially now more than ever, the customer is reading reviews that aren't just by single person, the critics,
right?
But they're reading reviews of groups of people, you know? So
basically anyone can be a critic now.
Of course, social media, man.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I looked this up, 94% of people looking to go to a restaurant look up reviews online. That's a lot.
Where's that number from?
The internet.
Dad, I need a source.
You really are a journalist.
Well, what? You can't just throw out a number.
Here are the top 7 places that people get reviews.
According to who? Oh my God. Okay, you know what? Forget it. Go ahead. Read the list.
Google My Business. I'm serious.
Okay.
Because what happens is so when you Google a restaurant,
yeah,
the first thing that comes up on the right side are Google reviews.
Yep.
Okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is Facebook.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Number 3 is Yelp.
Okay.
Number 4 is TripAdvisor, because people are going on trips.
Yep.
Okay? Number 5 is Zomato.
Okay.
Number 6 is OpenTable, because they're making reservations.
Yep.
And number 7 is Zagat, still, rocking the house.
Yep.
You know, Zagat used to be such an incredibly important print book.
Yeah.
We'd all wait for the print book to come out.
Right.
It was like in October or something, and see what our numbers were. And now it's obviously online. But that's interestingly how people are getting their reviews. Now, there's an industry website called Eater,
Yep.
Which they're in lots of these sort of restaurant cities. The thing I use Eater for, I don't necessarily use Eater for their reviews. I use them for their lists. Like if I'm going to a different city, like if I'm going to go to like, Philadelphia or Austin or something like that, like they'll have lists about, they'll have like their essential restaurants or their
they do have great lists.
Their heat map. They're really good at that.
Yeah.
Eater's excellent at that. That's what I use their site for sure.
Eater really has their finger on the pulse, especially with new restaurants. I find a lot of new restaurants that way.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's like I've had hundreds of great reviews and a couple of not great reviews, but that's what people want to talk about. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's the problem because the people writing the reviews and the people publishing some of these sites understand that.
Yeah.
So if they write a good review about somebody who they expected to be good, like they don't hear from it.
Yeah.
It kind of falls into the ether. If they write a bad review about Thomas Keller, like people are going to talk about it for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically if you're going to go out with your girls and you want to try something new, you go to where? Eater?
I go to Eater, I go to Infatuation. I mean, I find a lot on Twitter, but it's usually because I'm following like Eater on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I also get a lot of press releases.
You do?
Yeah, I'm a journalist.
Yeah, I know you're a journalist, Sophie, but like restaurants send you releases because they want you to talk about it
all the time
in your community?
Yeah, I mean, if it's in my coverage area, it's definitely something that.
So great. So let's talk to you about this issue.
Okay.
Which is a place sends you a press release and you're like, oh, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So you go.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
That's tough.
Well, do you write about it? I mean, do you report on it?
No, because it's not my job to tell you whether something's good or bad. I'm not a food critic. My job is to tell you the story.
I understand that, but you're a person.
Sure.
So like,
but I don't fake anything.
So what do?
I tell the story.
Even if you don't like it?
Yeah, my job is not to give you my opinion on whether or not I think it's good. My job is never to give you my opinion. So every once in a while, I'm on camera and I'm eating something, and if it's great, like I'll say it. But
like you like those Italian sandwiches from
Giada.
It's not Giada De Laurentiis, by the way.
No.
It's Giata.
Yeah.
With a T.
Yeah, the Giada boys. They make a good Italian sub.
So if you went there, you didn't like their subs, you would still do a story about them?
Yeah, of course. Because I'm not going there just because of the food. I'm going there because of the story.
So you're telling a human interest story?
Yeah, always.
Interesting.
I'm not there to review.
Would you be a food critic?
No. I've grown up in restaurants, essentially, and it's just a little too close to home for me. Everyone has their own opinion. I obviously, I'm pretty confident in, my palate.
Yeah.
But I'm not really interested in potentially hurting someone's feelings in that sense. It's not, it's too close to home for me. You know what reviews you always get, like what people always say about your food? It's so salty. Can't eat it, it's so salty.
Really?
Yes, oh my gosh.
That's because we use a lot of salty ingredients, and also we season the food.
Yeah.
Like we don't play games. Like we season with salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Everything gets seasoned. Like we don't play games. And also like my food is a lot of like naturally salty flavors. Things like anchovies and capers.
Yeah.
And olives and I use salt.
I don't think I've ever left a review on a restaurant, like on Yelp or Open Table. Like I don't think I've ever left one.
Oh, you've never done it?
No. Have you?
No, definitely. Me? Of course not. Could you imagine? The only thing that whenever I go, if I talk about a restaurant in any public forum, it's usually going to be like on my Instagram, and it's going to be only positive. Like I'm not gonna, if I go to a place and I'm disappointed, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah.
But if I find something that is just like, you'll hear me talk about like the pizza at Razza or Lucali like all day long. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that like, as a New Yorker, I feel like I have some chops to talk about.
Yeah, right.
Or if I find a really great dish or something that's just so like transcendent in a way that I wasn't expecting, I'm excited about it. I want to support people. I'm not interested in bashing anyone.
Yeah.
It's just not, I'm not interested in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I always look for the good.
Always Hungry is created by Bobby Flay and Sophie Flay.
Our executive producer is Christopher Hasiotis.
Always Hungry is produced, edited, and mixed by Jonathan Haas-Dressler.
Always Hungry is engineered by Sophie Flay. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
Listen, we all love ice cream, but there's ice cream and then there's Jenny's ice cream. Jenny's has unique flavors like brown butter almond brittle, a buttercream ice cream with golden pockets of caramel and crunch, and brambleberry crisp ice cream that tastes just like a fresh berry cobbler topped with vanilla ice cream. All made from scratch, no synthetic flavorings or dyes. Ice cream is great and Jenny's makes it better. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams including gluten-free and dairy-free flavors at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com. Listen, we all love ice cream, but there's ice cream and then there's Jenny's ice cream. Jenny's has unique flavors like brown butter almond brittle, a buttercream ice cream with golden pockets of caramel and crunch, and brambleberry crisp ice cream that tastes just like a fresh berry cobbler topped with vanilla ice cream. All made from scratch, no synthetic flavorings or dyes. Ice cream is great and Jenny's makes it better. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams including gluten-free and dairy-free flavors at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com. Listen, we all love ice cream, but there's ice cream and then there's Jenny's ice cream. Jenny's has unique flavors like brown butter almond brittle, a buttercream ice cream with golden pockets of caramel and crunch, and brambleberry crisp ice cream that tastes just like a fresh berry cobbler topped with vanilla ice cream. All made from scratch, no synthetic flavorings or dyes. Ice cream is great and Jenny's makes it better. Find Jenny's one-of-a-kind ice creams including gluten-free and dairy-free flavors at scoop shops and grocery stores nationwide and online at jennys.com. That's JENIS.com.